Chronixx, people, Chronixx.
Where we can get the service.
Chronixx.
We're not seeing you. And we need to hear from you. All right. All right, we see you now. So the next question now. You remember that time when I was up at the house and we were talking about music? We were talking about what we need and how we need to kind of centralize the music in a way where we take control of it, or rather decentralize music, so that we can create our own standards of value. Yeah, whether it's through creating, you know, something that bypasses these labels and these awards and all of that, and just kind of set our own value as artists within the space. Set our own value so that we have more control over how our art is being released and how people get access to it and how we tour and all of these things. Over the past 2 years, that has been a really, really important mission for me. Chronixx soon forward, man. I watch nothing. Chronixx connection. Kind of shoddy. Come on, bruv. We were in on you. But yeah, while we're waiting on Jamar to rejoin us, yeah, there was a time when we sat together and we had to kind of think about how little control we have, especially as reggae musicians, about, you know, where it came to our sovereignty as artists then, and what we were being allowed to do within the space, and how much permissions we needed to get certain things done within the space. So there were many ideas that came to us, but once we started to, yes, you reach forward now. So yeah, you remember the conversation we did have up at the yard, out around the forward? That time?
Yeah.
And it's like, I look at Web3 as a perfect resolution to that issue. And some of the plans for, you know, my music as an artist in that space, and how I plan to liberate myself from the industry through the use of Web3. Some of those things are things I can't even utter, but they're things that I know many of us might be thinking about already. I took 8 months of research before I even decided that I was going to show how I want, you know, wellness in this space. And I wanted to do it first as we serve first. And then when we look at reggae music in particular, different from any other kind of music that has the potential in the NFT Web3 space, there is so much potential because Jamaica is not just music in isolation. Jamaica is culture, by spirituality, you know, at the root of the music, beyond, you know, the hype of it and us trying to fit into other people's standards and begging award from foreign and all these things. Like, our own creative potential is so untapped, and Web3 really gives us an opportunity to look into, ourselves, all of these things, you know. And why you laugh?
Real thing.
What went on?
No, it's serious. No, it's serious. It's serious. You know. Them say I have to take serious thing with joke, but it's real thing. It's real thing. You know. For true. Yeah, man.
And especially when you think about the elders, you know, and how taken advantage of they were. Yes, they did not inform themselves as well, but it was just a different process. They didn't have the same level.
It was a different time. It was a different time. And,
yes.
It was
Nobody was
totally
trying
different time.
Very happy to take advantage.
It was a different time, I would say. And now that we're in this time, we just have to give thanks. That is first and foremost. We have to give thanks, and we have to. I think for me, after making music and all of that, like right during when they're you know, the world is in lockdown and them things, I was making music like every single day, because that was kind of how I get through figuring out the whole thing, you know. Just try to reconnect with music. And I remember producing a whole heap of content. Like, you know, I was just making a whole heap of content. I was just like doing all of them things and like looking into NFTs and all of them things, like right the whole time. And eventually I did forward to this place where it's like, yo, them things is like secondary to the fact that we have to heighten art itself. You get me? Like we have to bring art to the next art itself. You know, which means music itself is on a itself, which means an artist who give themselves to music in opposed to trying to take themselves from it, you know. And I feel like with Web3 and the internet and what all of that did is
an ultimate space.
reality. You get me? And that can become sometimes so attractive where, and I hear me by the way, Sky, if this a chip in it, that make no sense. You know?
Where hear you?
Alright. So we, you know, in the space over there now, right now on the internet, right? It almost is a world by itself because best believe some of the people on this, they're not eating good. They have problems. They have problems that they should be attending to more than they should be on the internet. Like, no, most of it, like me, I one of them. Like, right now, you know, it's just because, you know, this, but that's my point. I'm like, if at some point we don't acknowledge within ourselves that, yo, we have to increase the level of artistry to a point where it become unquestionable. We have to increase the level of self-expression to the point where it becomes unquestionable regardless of the platform that it is on, you know. It would be like if someone heard what's going on Twitter. It's not different than if them hear it on YouTube or if them see the video or how them discover it. Just the form that the art takes speaks for itself. You know, when someone hears sun is shining, it don't really matter which platform you hear it on. It is art, genuine, unquestionable beauty. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is, you know. So I feel like that's our security as art. The internet was supposed to be the liberation for artists. Like artists were supposed to be freed by the internet. You know, imagine a space where me and you, we could have our own platform, and yet here we are on Instagram. You get me? Where you find that corporations and people with financial and political and military force will always find a way how to infiltrate the technologies them first. You get me? And because the internet, we could easily have our own Instagram. We could easily have our own Instagram.
I want to say, I think that is particular to us in the diaspora as well, right? Because you touched on a crucial thing. We are the source. Africa and her diaspora are the source of most of the creative force in the earth. Creative, not only artistically creative, but literally creative, like naturally, resource rich
creative. You think
creative.
so? You think so, man?
We are the last to be allowed into these spaces. We are literally prohibited from entering these spaces. And so when you see the Africans and the diasporans force them way into the space with these incredible innovations, you have to understand, imagine if we were given the same kind of access as the people who were being protected and promoted by those forces. Yeah? But what I love about
Africa was, like, for instance, I think 2 years ago, I met this company. I don't want to say what them name or whatever, because it was kind of confidential, the settings where we did but there was this, I was on this virtual forum where people was pitching technologies that they were looking for investment, and there was this East African company that had a a technology that you could transfer value via a SIM card. You get me? With text message frequency and them type of thing with SSD and them things. So it's like,
yeah.
and then I did check on them like 2 years later. Like 2 years later now when I see, you know, 2 years later now when I see the whole Web3 thing, I kick up, man, I say, yo, man, check in on them again. And then I heard that the technology was bought by one of the most powerful organizations in the earth. And, you know what I mean? And you talk about government, world government organization, not even like a private thing. You get me? So you find, say, if I could have buy that company, for instance, like if me and you could, if me could have called Janine and say, oh, Janine, some great youth from Nairobi developed this thing, you know, and they need $2 million, or they need 5 or 10, 15, 100 million or whatever. Then we see where now we wouldn't be able to, you know, take a shot in the ball game. You get me? But up until
Pin again, stick a whole heap of pin again.
Yeah.
Jump Web3, because this now is what gives my heart so much joy, right? Because the things we have in development now and the conversations we're having now are going to shape what is possible in the future. Because right now, with the emergence of these decentralized autonomous organizations, we can set ourselves in place to be ready for those kinds of opportunities, to create those opportunities within, you know, ourselves and our own networks that are unprotected by the blockchain, yeah, but give everybody who is a part of that organization a stake in the organization without having to now interact with governments, right? And go through all of that paperwork. You create a DAO, and you know, are collecting funds together, making investments together, making decisions together in a way where there is 100% transparency. And we decide on the kind of we want to fund. And all of these things are not far-fetched concepts. But what the blockchain provides is the transparency, and it provides us a bit of protection from some of these outside forces. So we cannot go, and that is, I mean, that is why the blockchain is such a revolutionary concept. It's just, it no longer requires a person or a company. And this is why it is a terrifying thing to the system as well. Because those who come on here with good intentions to do good work can no longer be, you know, held back by the limitations of,
well,
you need.
First, we must big up man like Mike. You see me? A man like Jordan from Coindesk. The man, they make sure say, yo, we have all of the Web3 information first. The man, they make sure say, yo, we at least have the same advantage as every other youth in the earth as far as information is concerned. You know, and Mike as well, and him whole entire Reed Robinson team, and like all of them youth there who literally
Wi-Fi kill the people, you chip it.
Them a cut me out, man.
Pause, brother. We don't want to miss.
Cut them a cut me out.
To find.
Cut them a cut out the rest. See?
And cut out yourself. It's not necessarily the but
yeah,
you know.
But what may I say?
Go ahead.
Big up to Jordan, man, over at Coindesk, and big up to Mike from Reed Robinson and the whole, you know, my squad, as far as them and them, you know, them and the initiate, you know, the whole fintech concept of how the world will move forward, and is based on facts. It's not based on, because, you know, whenever, as we say, whenever something drop, it creates some sense of it creates some sense of excitement, you know, and like sometimes we have to work around that emotional excitement to come to a place where you can actually, even though you're excited, we're not gonna move because I'm excited, I'm gonna move off a solid information of what's
Your
happening
own.
in these, yeah, and how the spaces them are evolved. You get me?
So it
Cause we
moves
see
is like
where,
missing out. So people feel like they need to move very quickly because it's evolving so fast. Like, you know, you're going to not have the opportunity. But this technology is not even in its infancy.
trust
It's,
me,
I mean,
just like how
it's,
someone with just a come on Instagram,
and
just
as you
like
say,
how
what it,
someone with just, you know,
yeah, what it is now, it is going to evolve so much beyond it. And it is the place of now that are going to shape it in the future. So we have to
definitely,
approach all of these tools without fear. You know, somebody said, you know, it can be used for good or bad. If your intentions, it can't be used for bad in my mind. Because if I'm using it, I don't have any bad intentions toward it, or I just sit it out.
yeah.
It has to be
Well,
something. And
yo,
what is your purpose? What is your purpose, individual? So don't just run, you know, because you want to find a way to get in on it. If you don't have a valuable contribution to make, and if you don't understand the platform, it don't even make sense to get involved. You know, don't just run up into a thing because it's trending and it's the style. Understand what is the value that I want to deliver and what is the value I want to receive. So these are the things that we have to think about when we're talking about that. Now, we understand the technology. I want to go into a different realm of the conversation now, my brother. As you sit there and steam your herb, right? On this auspicious occasion that is 420, right? And we know the most important happened on a 420 was His Majesty's visit to the, you know, island of Jamaica, which is why 420 is so significant and so synchronous, that word there. And it is like, how do we feel about herb and how herb is generally used? Because we know, especially from Jamaica, we know say there is an abusive tendency toward her. You know, when we are dealing with her, a lot of the times we mix her up in all kind of things, and we deal with her wicked constantly. Don't give her a break. Let her rest. Spliff a light spliff. Bun chalice after bun chalice, while one chalice is loading, the one is finishing at the other end of the table. I want to hear about your relationship with this sacred feminine part of this plant.
Am I chipping out every minute still? Because I can't be saying these things and chipping out.
You're comfortable. All right, you're fully chip out now. You see, if Instagram to be a ballad in this room, I have to move the conversation over to Twitter, right? So we're gonna give them.
Hold on, the mic on my headphone. Yeah, you can hear me better now.
Vibes I use make you never want to move from that spot there.
Hold on, I'm gonna come on a different spot. Yeah, hear me better?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'll park the chalice a little bit. See? Serious thing. So, basically, we use herb all the time, every day, mostly. Get me? I did one break in the last year, like one solid break. Usually when a break is just like, you know, you just not feel for the herb. You get me? But I did one break where I was doing a water fasting for 7 days. You see me? So I never have no herb because I was just having water. You see me? And my thing with herb is, you see, herb is, I don't know, I'm still learning it and thing, but I'm fascinated with our Jamaican herb, you know, like the reason why I get into herb was to connect with that, You get
Yeah.
me? Was to connect with, like, you know, because I used to see her on TV with Snoop Dogg and them man the type of herb was some different type of herb from what I used to see, you know, and then even moving
True.
forward and forward and forward, you realize that you have even some herb that we never did even used to see neither. For it was from a time before, like, you know, burning spears and herb. You get me? So yeah, that's the quest for me. So I go travel from St. Thomas to all over, try to see what go on and link with people like the great Michelle Emmanuel, who traveled the length and breadth of the island to see what go on, and all over the world for that matter, you know. So we have ones like advanced ones like Dr. Michelle Emmanuel, who I was happy to see him achieve that too, as someone who could secure equatorial strains and using knowledge for what you that's now, and someone who
Advanced
have uses
humanity.
knowledge and his genuine academic community, because like them man, they have a genuine academic community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He speaks Dr. Michelle Emmanuel from the University of the West Indies.
University of the West Indies, yeah.
We're on campus at the same time. Michelle
Yeah,
is like my, you know what I mean?
them man there is like them man they are godfather for all of we, you know, even though we are the same within the same age group and thing, them man they are still big godfather. Yeah, me in an age group, cause me belong to a wider age group than some people. You must understand that. Where
right.
if you want to go another realm then now, where we can talk about the spirits that guide the ages, because every age have a spirit. You see me? And I belong to a wider spirit group than most people, and knowledge of self is very frightening in a genre. Because if you don't
have to talk age group,
you know,
the case,
so it's
right?
what me I say.
This is what happens when you steam and you have a conversation, right? This is how it go. Chronixx steam from morning and I don't steam from morning. So you know what I mean? No,
well, I belong to a wider age group, which means I belong to the same age group as my mother. You see me, as hard as that is for people believe. My mother is 50. My mother is 50 and I belong to, you know. Yeah. But at the same time, to Michelle, not much older, and probably like maybe 15 years or something like that. You know, which, you know, you have brothers and sisters who 15 years apart.
Right. What I want to tie down, because we know you know enough very special people, right? And Michelle is a part of the Chalice Station community. He's one of our partners. He has been one of our partners in Ganja for the past decade, and you will meet him when you will become a part of this Chalice Station community. He is one of the people we will have access to, as well as some other people throughout the world who have been doing this work as well. Yeah? But what I want to know from you, Mr., you know, is how did your relationship with herbs start? What initiated you on this journey? We understand now where you are on the journey, but what initiated? When did it start? How did it start? What does it look like? Beyond how often you use it, how do you use it? What is the most frequent way that you use it? If you care to share.
Yeah.
Who gave your first all of these questions I want to know now. Or it's just steam?
I never smoke. Yeah, I never get into smoking. No, I never get into smoking, so I don't really know about the smoking, to be honest. You get me? And I feel like I met you around the time when I just got into herb, like to say, yo, let me see what this thing can do for someone. You get me? Because I know the things that, you know, people say and blah, 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 but, you know, I believe, so, yo.
Chronixx did burn out herb. All we have one Chronixx never know herb thing. right?
No, I
Church.
wasn't. No, I never did on the herb thing. No, I never did on the herb thing in terms of you know, it was really Kelisa who first introduced me to herb. Like we me start use herb first time. We used to make tea and then blend it. Like after we dry it, we blend it and drink it with the fiber and everything, and just drive out. You get me? And then that was me, Kelly's and Infinite. The three we used to hang out all heap, you get me? And then yeah, and then from this on out, yeah, we start deal with it just as tea and anything the first which it did very strong. So it's like after that man say, yo, I need a way how I can gauge
Regulate
how
it.
this get going on my blood system, you get me? Because this thing lick you anytime. You get me? So me I say, yo, so right away we say, all right, make we start steam, you know, and we did have a little vape thing first, but it would have still burned the herb, and me I said, no man, this feel like a smoking thing. So then now we get a steam chalice. I don't know how I get my first steam chalice, to be honest. You see me? But now, it wasn't mine. Of course, it couldn't have been my steam chalice. I can't remember what my first chalice was. You get me? Cause I have so much chalice over time, like whole heap. You see me? Me used to sell chalice. You know, I know I build chalice. You get me? So me I say, yo, at the end of the day, the journey for me started with just like on a mental health, mind state type of level, because you know I come from a place where you don't know, obviously you to go church. One I think them with church youth have a whole heap of negativity, you know, get me? But people don't really realize, because like you end up being enemies of the world, you get me? Of the same world that you have to live in every day. You see me? So it's like me did really dep on a quest to become more friendly with the world in terms of having more compassion for people and the fact that humanity have a history. So if you have one man who is a Nazi, it's because there has been a history of Nazism previous to him being born, or some history will lead up to that. So if you have compassion for people, it will open up history to you, and it will open up your heart to the fact that, yo, we did go through enough things before we fall on the earth. So rather than look on people as agents of the devil, you have to look for them as we are like symptoms. You know, we are living in a symptomatic type of situation where we play out in a regular human everyday life is just basically a symptom or a reaction to a really a go on based on history and what go on spiritual realms. You see me? What the spirit of the ages are dealing with, what the spirit of the races are dealing with, what the spirit of because everything we see manifest physically, like people physical race, there's a spiritual phenomenon behind it. So if there's a so if there's a spiritual phenomena behind race and how the race is manifested in our own unique physical ways, when you see things that happen within the African race, it must be something that happened on the spiritual realm because it. You get me? So with using herb and embracing Rastafari was always something with me I pursue. Like from the moment I stop go church and them thing that when me I maybe like 15, 16, you know. And like me would have still go church. It was at a church, get me the best experience I had in the
that is why we are in the church. That's
was at a church service. You know what I mean? And it was, let me tell you what it was. It was the night when Kobe Bryant died, right? And there was just a sadness over the city of Los Angeles. I'm going to tell you, when someone's spirit is come from a big age group, someone like Kobe Bryant, where appeal to from old to young, everybody, that man have a big spirit. So when that spirit leave the earth, physical space, then thing that will make earthquake shake straight. So who not believe in them thing, that's fine. You know have to believe in them. You know have to believe in them not. So me did there Los Angeles, and it did just sad because it was the same night as the Grammy, same way, and it is sad. So another night me and couple people end up with us say, yo, we could go Sunday service around a Kanye, you get me? And I watch the man deliver. It was him, Kirk Franklin, and Justin Bieber, and some other people. And the man them deliver some singing way. Trust me, if you love music and if you're close to the Almighty, there's no way you can go around the music there. If you're close to Jah, you know? It could have been like you're there and hear the high trees are sing and it no move there. You get me? And it would have come like you hear Burning Spears a wail out and it no move there. You get me? It's like you feel that same African spirit of togetherness and people harmonizing and coming back into unison and them things. So it's like people are going to forever abuse drugs and them thing there. And them type of thing there until we, you know, throw away the whole heap of resentment and know, say, yo, if we are going to herb or in anything, going at it out of love and out of pursuing a healthy mind state for yourself. You know, and that's why I got into her. That's why I got into her, because, you know, coming into music, there's just enough negativity in the space where you have to navigate, and you have to still find a way how to be compassionate towards everyone, you know.
Indeed.
Even if someone is gonna say harsh things or whatever. And like, how else can someone do that if they're not tapping, you know? And like me never have the, like, some people who have the preparation, like even ones like the Ijanite who, you know, very into the breathing part of the thing, because remember, breath work a serious thing. You see me? Body work a serious thing, like
and that's
work.
You know, we are not taught how to breathe. We're not taught the important parts of life as children.
Exactly. So how
we're not taught to eat. We're not taught the
large amount of people are got tapping
drainage and
if we not have help, and herb to me was a big help, you know, in even getting me into yoga and all of them other things, right? You know what I mean? And consciousness on the earth is like, herb for me was a gateway to that. Because like my mind coming up in such a resentful, dark, crucifixional type of space. You get me? It's like
hellfire judgment type of space.
Yeah, it's like a self-condemnation type of space, because God obviously not condemning us. God give you breath every morning. You see me, regardless. I see some man who are rapists wake up a morning time and a big sunlight a shine upon him same way. You get me? Big rain a fall and wet up him, crap them in plant and him tree them and grow and them are wicked people. You get me? So if Jah set it up.
Stick up in. Right? What I like to remind myself and others as well is, and we find that even as we evolve out of that space of, you know, Judeo-Christian judgment and condemnation, it still leaks back into our psyche, especially when there are obvious things that you feel like this deserves judgment, it's a wickedness, right? And we forget also that we are here to have experiences as humans. And we can't look at any situation as good or bad. That type of polarity consciousness is what keeps us in that cycle of suffering. So if I look at what am I using my mind for? So as you start to dive deeper now into, you know, how herb can help to repair the errors of your mind and help to set new connections in your brain. Remember, you know, it is a homeostasis regulator. That means the purpose of herb is to bring back to your zero state, right? And so just how far are you away from your zero state, that is going to really determine the kind of reaction you have to herb, right? Whether on a physiological level or on a psychological level. So that state of homeostasis, that state of balance in your mind, it is going to be difficult for you in that space. If you notice a man that is very high, and like steaming high, right? When something happens in the environment, the reaction time, you say, oh, it slowed down your reaction time. But really and truly, why are we being so reactive? Why everything is a startling? You know, it really allows us to slow time so we can really process the information that is toward us. Yes? So if I have an experience that looks like a negative experience, down the line, I might be able to dissect from that experience why I attracted it to myself. Because everyone is doing according to what their particular path is. Whatever you want to interpret it as. So the man who comes into this earth with karma that causes him to end up becoming a rapist, down the line, he's going to have to interact with something that is going to prepare him for the balance that is necessary. Even if that means somebody's going.
Yeah, or maybe him just so ascended before. Maybe he was just such a because when powers are trying to descend, remember them descend with a strong force, you get me? So a man use one lifetime to sink himself as far down in a consciousness as he need to go. You get me? So at the end of the day, how me sleep still? Yeah,
it is the karmic cycle.
Yeah. And,
so
and when we forward in the earth, we don't really know, we don't remember nothing. You know, when we forward in the earth, we don't remember nothing. So that now, you would know a thing now, hold me up for a thing named free will. You get me? Where once you come in
don't know.
Some people talk about Christian and Rasta and anything, and like when His Majesty say, yo, defender of the faith, is because the concept of Christ being within humanity, within the kingdom of man. Because you don't know, you have the plant them, you know, you have the animal them, you have we, you have the angels, you have God, all the way up.
As we talk about these kinds of terms, it is very important to remember we are limited to the English language when we are discussing these concepts that are outside of business language.
But you have to look for, remember, so we are artists, and anyone who people can only learn from if them check the symbolism there and what I say, because we are artists. And at the end of the day, I'm not anything other than an artist.
As artists, Jama, Chronixx, artists, we have a responsibility to understand the context in which we speak. So this is why I know, as the feminine balance, we always draw back attention to the fact that people become emotionally triggered by words, and it stops them from true understanding, because we have not even been taught how to listen. So people are listening here, they want to talk. There are like 16 people trying to come in on this live right now who have their own opinion, with their own version of words to say things that might sound like they're different, but that might just be essentially the same.
The words I use like a while ago when you say you have the plant, which is everything on the earth is from plant consciousness. You get me? You even have
but a word like there is a concept than a word like Christ. Because you talk about Christ,
but I mean, Christ, you can look on it however, like you can look on it however you want to look on it. Like you can look on it however you want to look on it. Even if you want to go letter by letter by letter by letter.
And this is where we fail a lot of the times when we are dealing with community, right? We fail to understand that we want to be understood. If we want people to truly know. Otherwise, stay
but
up in the bush.
you know this, John, you see, now is the definitive moment. There's no one from your community who would misunderstand your using of the term Christ.
you that there is
anyone who would have looked upon you and me,
over time.
Anyone who would have looked upon you and me with compassion for who we are. Hold on. If you can't look upon me with compassion, you know, me and you from the same community.
What are the blockages of compassion? Misunderstanding, emotional trauma. So you may be well on your way to wanting to express compassion, and because you are triggered, you lose focus of the compassion you are trying to build. And now you have said something and I can no longer hear you. It's like when two people are when man and woman are in love, and you have a disagreement. Me who used to see you every day, all of a sudden I can't hear you. And it's like, why you don't understand me? And the two people are there are people who love each other, but they literally cannot hear each other. And words don't mean.
Can I say something?
Depending on it you're in. And religion is strikes people on a very emotional, potentially traumatic level. So this is why, like for me, you will not hear me speak about certain things in a social media context. But if me and you reasoning, and I understand because this is me reasoning. So the way we are different from how you would talk if you were talking to somebody else. But no, my responsibility as your sister, right, as the feminine present, is to have a broader sense of what compassion means. Meaning, even the words I say, I will literally censor myself. And censor means use my senses, all of my senses, to determine how do I say, what do I say, and what do I not say for the benefit of the broader conversation. You know? And so a concept like when we mention certain concepts, we have to pause and put a disclaimer there to say, listen, we are talking about concepts and symbols. When you break down the etymology of words, you understand it. His Majesty was his education minister him chose to be, of all the things him could have been, because he understood the importance and value of the word. This man makes sure that him write his own biography so nobody could misinterpret what he's trying to say to the world. He spoke softly and he spoke eloquently in multiple languages, and he was not ever raising his voice. This is a man who you had to be quiet to hear what he was saying. You know what I mean? So we know when we are distributing information, this is a man who had the level of knowledge, because there's some books that His Majesty wrote that not everybody has access to. These books are out of publishing. Some of them have been destroyed. His Majesty wrote books on etymology and talking about how words can be broken down. So when you're looking at a man like that, you understand the importance of communication. And there's a way that we deal with language within the Rastafari culture where you can't, the way you say it, it's not that we try, you know what I mean? It's like you can't, we don't use the word Jah. We use I. Why? Because of Jah represents, and the letter J was not created until this time. And so Jesus, and you know, we can go into these things and we can go down a rabbit hole of what they mean, right? And we can
we can allow words to arise in us as symbols and images and watch it like how you are. When you watch a movie, right? You think the man who write the movie I try to say what going in the movie? No. Him use the things that are going at the movie to communicate a bigger message like don't bite the hands that feed you, the stone that the builder refused. These are the small things that a whole movie is trying to communicate, you know. So the same thing when someone have a conversation and if I have to use XYZ amounts of words, and this even when time use the word Christ, is these level of understand, like someone we can listen to someone and chat a bag of things, and in the end, regardless of all the bag of things that the man say and do, you at least you get the point when did I say. At least you leave with an understanding of saying, yo, this man him come and him use a bag of words and whatever, but in the end he was saying the stone that the builder refused will always be that cornerstone. In the end he was saying, honor your mother. As you get me? It says like in after all is said and done, blah 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 blah. This is what the man was saying. So when I talk about that understanding, that is the understanding that we should use as the defining factor in knowing who our community is. Because we can't fake community. You cannot fake community. If someone loves you, then is a part of your community. If they don't, they are not a part of your community. Because you can't secure people who wouldn't secure you back straight. You see me? Like it's like, and if I can say I have 500 people who are going to support everything I do, then I can support everything they do because it's just 500 of them. You get me? But if that is 500 million, your life becomes more difficult. You end up, you know, you try to tell me, say you have your community that big for you, you know. My community probably is 1,000 people. I know that. Everybody else is people who visit the marketplace for XYZ reason and might subscribe to me because I make good products. And they subscribe to me because they subscribe to me because I make good products. And the minute I cease to make good products, they will unsubscribe. You get me? So for them people, my only duty is to come with a good product. But to my community now, them people I get my 100%. You get me? Like, and I saw me deal with it. It's like, you know, means that God give you a talent, and it's like, it's God give people talent, you know. So if you're born, and when you utter certain words, it moves people spiritually, then never you claim no whole heap of glory for that or not like that, you know. It's because it's the powers where control farm and then think they were really responsible for make it possible so we can forward inner humanity and express yourself and all of them things. So it's like, you know, when and these things I'm not sure, you know, when it all connect back to, you know, the whole Web3 thing and all of that. The Web3 is one market space, is a new platform for commerce and the transfer of value and all of them things. So
it's the frame new platforms. It is a tool. It is a Web3's marking time, just like how Web2 marked time.
Exactly.
You know?
It's like a time saying, yo, time for us to do things this way now. You get me?
Yeah.
It's just simply time for that because the technology is there. Why not? Because remember, you know, we are living off a fiat. We are living a fiat militarized currency world, and you know, people will complain, say, yo, cryptocurrency, it's causing pollution and it's this and it's not green or whatever. But how much pollution it causes to have a military? You know, how much pollution it causes to have all the different interstellar program them a man have just to have an advantage over next country and just to have a control over a large mass of people. You get me? So it's like,
and what is pollution in comparison to poverty, or in comparison to nations being starved and lack of food? What is the true value of these things? You have people talking about animals, talking about human rights. So there will always be that. So we have to, again, as you said, and I'm glad you raised that. That's really what we're trying to build with these conversations, is identifying who our community is. So we can identify people, and when they realize what it is we represent, then we can now polarize toward each other in more intimate spaces and intimate interactions. Because you cannot hold on to people. You cannot expect from anyone. You just have to give. You have to give, and you have to see how the universe replenishes you. But the moment you begin to now expect from people, even if it is your community, you know, then that is when you compromise your ability to receive. So if I am only giving love to you because of the love you will give to me, I don't truly love you. If I need to find a way to practice a love that is unconditional because I practice love. And so for you now to cause me to love you less, you are depleting me and my supply of love, because this is not about my relationship with you. This is about my relationship with love. Yeah? So we look at love beyond mankind. We use words like God, but what we mean by God is not something external, but it's something internal. So if we say God has talent, it means that there is an inborn talent that we have come into this world to manifest and express. We are all given talents. Those of us who read the word, or those of us who read ancient scripts, it always speaks to those seeds that you are born with, those seeds that you are born from. And how will we manifest it in this world? And how love waters those seeds and makes it manifest in a beautiful way. And when you check out some of the most creative and most talented people, these are people with an exceptional ability to love. And even if they have been traumatized and they hide their love away, it is love that inspires us. It is love that brings life. And the more we tap into that as a community and build spaces where it is safe to practice love, then we watch each other flourish. You know, we live in a very competitive world. We're in a very, very cutthroat industry where it looks good to say love, and it looks good to...
But the cutthroat can't catch you though. Like we untouchable. Like if you deal with this magic, if you deal with the untouchable, man. Untouchable. Like in the music industry, just come do what you do and do what you do. You know what I mean? It's like it's the same way we treat internet and computer and Web3. Like I'm an artist, and people will always seek out the highest form of art present in the earth at any given time. You know, some people will even try to wall it back. Some people will wall it back. I've seen where, because remember, you know, music industry is very young, you know. We have to accept that, you know. The people who will buy ketchup from, you know, they might make ketchup for 200 years. People who will buy wine from them and make wine for 500 years, them have them wine industry. People who will buy silk from, them and make silk. You have some people who are deal with silk.
But the conversation have to be...
You get me? But all I know is, but you see with music, there is no record company in this world that can say we have been releasing records
100 years.
around, you know. So imagine now you have this music industry where it's fresh, just like how we have NFT and them thing there. The whole concept of releasing a record, that was like an NFT in the 1940s, you know, especially coming down like for have your own record, like that is like, how is that even possible? Like how am I going to have someone being able to listen to my performance after me then perform it whenever they want? That is nuts. I saw the man then do that thing, brother. If Beethoven and them man that they never know say yo, iTunes and them thing. Them probably only get a glimpse of it in the moment when them make the music. Cause I get glimpses of when me in a certain moment of making certain heights of music. And whatever, you get a glimpse of where music are gonna be like 200 years from now. You get like little flashes. You know, if you ever get in the heights of playing music and whatever, you will get impressions of it. You get me? But where we there now? Which part we there now? Which part we there right now? We see say, if we are make art, and even in the moment where we are make art, we can see into Wagwan. That means just make the highest art, man, and no worry about nothing, man. Everything taken care of, man. Just make the highest level of art. No worry about where only thing they get into no drugs thing. Because that will make you can't see clearly what going on. And then once you can't see clearly from whatever drugs are drinking, then that's the one little avenue where a man can really get to shut down the creativity and them thing. But once no one can shut down the creativity and you can go create whenever you want, you're untouchable, man. Trust me, man. You're untouchable. Because if me I maintain a certain type of liberty, because it's out of the liberty the music come. See? It's out of the liberty the music come. And if when you live a certain way, you make a certain music, and then the liberty change, and you realize that the music changed too. You get me? And then I'm gonna say, yo, why you can't make your music sound back like how it used to sound? It's because the liberty changed. You get me? So if you can maintain a liberty over a long period of time, right? Only knowing say, yo, you only ever seek to advance your liberty, but not to depreciate it or nothing like that. So my music only start, it just get better and better and better and better. As time passes, it just get better and better and nice and sweet and more harmonic and more universal. And even it reached to a point where even when someone hear you hum, it sounds symphonic. If you just keep that practice up. By the time you reach 50, someone pass and hear you hum and think of 3 people. You get me? Because you become so at one with your own resonance and how your voice moves through your body. And, you get to manifest what an artist and a music artist really is. You see me?
So in terms of being an artist and a creative and increasing upon your liberty, right? The things that we do to honor our art are the things that we do to honor our temple as well. So you have people who have been given exceptional talent and who come into this world, and because of the balance that they were unable to strike with, their mental health, their physical health, it burnt through them. And so all the fire that they came with, they were not able to sustain in their physical bodies. And so they left their physical bodies. But they left an indelible and incredible, kind of impression on the world, because they gave their all to their art. They suffered for their art. You hear those kind of things. So the real jewel here is to find a way to balance so that as your fire is burning, you are sustaining it, so your fire doesn't burn you out. So again, I bring it forward because we wrap it up now. I bring it forward to how do we maintain this? This is with this liberty, because it's not, a diet, it's a liberty. It's how we balance with our nutrition, how we balance with our breath work. There is a school of thought, an ancient school of thought that says you come into this world with a particular number of breaths. And so the creatures who practice a slow and deep breath live for a longer time than the creatures who breathe and pant very quickly. Like the dog years are much shorter than the sea turtle years. Yeah, we use that as a common example. So when we are thinking about all this mental work and we're doing all of these exercises in our brain and trying to figure out the system, let us not, neglect our physical bodies, unless it is that we have decided to burn out, and we're just going to go through this life and it's going to be short and we're going to just pick up where we left off on the other cycle. But if you want to have the best of life so that you can have the best experience of yourself and the time to create art and create families and create communities, we have to take better care of ourselves.
The family is the ultimate music still, The family and the community is the ultimate music. That's why I said don't fake your family and don't fake your community. Just let it be what it is and deal with it from there. Like if my community is a small group of people, then fine, I'll commit to that and they will commit back to me. I will grow a community at the pace where nature designates or where the creator designates. The Almighty say, yo, what that pace, they tried that pace. The same thing goes to the family. It's like, cause like me, like as I say, we in a space where we see multiple different people and I'm very blessed to say, yo, doing music from a place of love has brought me into a great space with scientists and artists and athletes and all different type of people who are pursuing them things for the same reason. And that to me is how a community is truly formed. It's not out of to say, yo, make we link up out another reason. It's just like if we're all doing what we're doing for the same end, then
one way for formed. I think a community can be formed in the same way that love can happen in any way. Communities have to do with intention. Communities are not formed by just because you end up in, you know, the same space, or because there's an intention behind community. And so you may think, you know what I mean? Somebody might think that, oh, I'm in this awesome community. But the moment, and you said it before, the moment your value to these particular people shifts, then you're not going to, they're not going to be your community anymore. So the foundations to be, am I sharing love? How, and what are we calling our community? Because you have different communities as well. You may have one community that is a representation of your culture and your music, and you may have another community that does not have any of those people in it, but they are serving a different purpose. So when you are here, because there are many of us, like for you, you have committed yourself to music in a way where that is how you see your art being expressed in the most dominant way. For me, I am a multidisciplinary artist. I am equally a wellness professional, educator, as I am a musician, equally. And so the way that I serve, I have extends itself beyond just the way that I express my art. Right? And in addition to the fact that I am a woman, and as a woman, we come into earth with a different level of potential.
I think you're an exceptional singer still. Like, I think you're an exceptional musician. Like, if I'm to say out of all of the different disciplines, I would say musically you are tapped in, like tapped into a different realms, different. You know, because like, you know,
effort,
like
music,
tap in, like
as it requires.
You know, like when I listen to your voice, like your voice have a thing in it where it's like we can't ever, because them thing not man-made, you get me? You mean? Them thing not man-made. Like some things man-made. Like we can always go make a good video. We can always go do whatever, you know, but some things, hold on there. Oh, no, there. I mean, I'm screaming. I say, yo.
So listen, this is what happens when I'm on the line with some of my brothers, you know, like, nah, got done. But I have a Twitter Spaces lined up at the top of the hour in 4 minutes. And we're joining another Twitter space that's talking about NFTs and technology and ganja. And we want to continue the conversation over there. You can tune in and listen in as well, because these conversations need to continue, you know? And that's why even when we're on tour, we make sure we make a space for the groundings. So it's not just you come and you see Janine and you try touch her and tell her everything you ever think about while you try to shake her hand as she go on the stage, you know? At a time, we have a whole other event where we can share and talk and breathe together. And me like when anybody ever talk to me, we make sure we put them in a breathwork and yoga before them even get to talk, because so many people are in this heightened state that you really have to balance them out, bring them to a zero state, you know, bring down the excitement so that they think properly. You know, when we see people, good people, we don't know what they ate in the morning. We don't know the state of their digestive health. We don't know if they're constipated. And constipated people, mind different from normal. They laugh like it's a joke. When people have worm in their belly, their mind work different.
They need the free up laxative, man. And the dewormer. Big up pre-scaler should the free up laxative. And the dewormer. Yo, as you take anybody, no, may I tell you, me did have worm.
Most people.
Some wicked worm, man. Them worm they make you want to drink something with sweet. You get me?
Because everyone be like, oh, we sweet and it is the worm telling you that you love that. That is what the worm love, and the worm them in control of your second brain. Remember, say your stomach is your second brain. You know, we have to look on them thing. I was watching
the free up laxative and the dewormer is the thing them where it is me them thing that just fix that. You get me? Like That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yo, like in our space, we have some healers, we have some scientists, like genuine people in our mind. We're not talking about like, oh, every single healer we meet on the planet, because we meet enough people and we meet enough athletes. But me can tell about some athlete where me can tell about some man in a Premier League where the man in a deal with enough flesh we play Premier League. No flesh. When me go them on the yard, me can just pull them on the fridge and anything when night. You get me? And them on their top Premier League. And them on the strong. You get me? So it's like them on the end up become like someone who look up to for when it comes to how you can live a certain way and still excel even in a physical sports like football. You get me? Like you know what I mean? So you have whole heap of people within the space where, like as me I say, honorable prescalers, them man they have some medicine way from
Is it true you don't come say all the people you want big up, so you try to fit in everybody for me to big up.
You have to big them up because them man there, and that's natural. I can't reason and big up them man. And just like how I can't reason about Chalice and a big up Jana. It wouldn't be a full reasoning.
Listen, right now we're going to head over to the Twitter spaces, but before we go, we want to make sure that you know, Chalice said we are building a community. We are building a genuine community, right? 333 spots in this community because we also practice certain sciences where it comes to the number them. And this is a manageable number where we know we can touch these people and we can bring forward all of these different healers and these different experts that we know into this space. And we have to, you can't deny the value of money and value delivery. And when you clear the karma when you spend, right? And you show that this is that I mean this. I'm going to give something of myself to receive this thing. I'm going to be a part of this thing so that I can value it. And when you become a part of this community and you get the value added, you now feel like you have a responsibility to maintain it because you have spent. So you are going to contribute. So there becomes this exchange. And in this exchange, it is going to be determined by what you are willing to put in. That is how you get balance from life. So for this particular purpose, we're inviting people to be a part of a particular community, yeah? The Chalice Station. And we want to be able to deliver the value. So we want to be able to share in a particular way and hold space for people who are holding space for themselves. We are not going to throw our pearls to swine. We are going to make sure that when we are giving of our energy, we are pouring from the overflow. We're not going to break our neck. We're not into no savior complex where we're trying to save anybody. We're leading by example, doing the work and sharing with those who also see value in the work. So, brothers and sisters, we're going to jump over to Twitter right now. So if you're in the space and you want to hear more about this project, you can jump over to the Twitter spaces. We're online with sure that we value their time as well by going across right away. So Jamar, Chronixx, I want you to jump over if you want to hear a little bit more as well, right? We know Chronixx is a baby father.
Platform to platform.
Prioritizing the community to see if he has the time to come over. But if you can, please do. You see me? So join us over there. And thank you so much for being a part of part one of this discussion. We're gonna have it. We have to have more of these spaces. And as the feminine, I feel it is my responsibility to hold space and hold balance to give my brothers an opportunity to speak. Because a lot of times, my brothers are misunderstood in this world and marginalized. And we feel like women are the ones who are marginalized but trust me, woman powerful. We don't have no problem in the earth. So we're going to hold them again soon. I'm going to move over to Twitter. I'm thanking everybody that is tuning in. And brethren, you're going to make some time to talk to us again soon? Yes?
On here? On this?
Maybe on Twitter, because Twitter is a very interesting opportunity. All of the 21 people in the chat who want to talk, we can give them an opportunity to talk then. You know? But we love when
we go over this now? Right
in this
now?
way. No, yeah, we're going over there right now. I'm going to join our chat right now. So come over, join us on the Twitter. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everyone, big up Kelly sir for me. Give Kyle Knight a big hug and
Man.
kiss from me.
Yo, see Mike join. Yo. Mike is here.
I drop hint, you know, but me and I
Big
drop
up
hint
Mike.
here.
Mr. Mike. Yo, trust me, man. Big up Mike, man. Big up all I man them there. Yo, me say some crazy people are joining. Wait, some top people. Them I just shoot them name. No, they're on the team. You see me?
Yeah,
Some
man.
original people. Big up
All
Mike.
I don't know. Me a Chronixx auntie, so make sure. So follow and support and get to learn. So come over to Twitter now, we're joining a space. And we're going to continue to share more about this NFT project because it is about wellness in the Web3 space, right? All I know who have the money and know if we get rich and all of that, make sure you know if we take care of yourself too. Because you can't take it with you, no. Is it?
Alright, so link up
Rastafari, big up yourself.
and stop girl on the tick.
Yo, I might talk that Chronixx take a while ago, you know. Yo, check out my song them. I always say, yeah. Yo, Chronixx, I can sue you, you know. Careful. Anyway, take that outside. That night. Yo. Pterodon. Yeah, man. Big up Pterodon, you see me? So anyway, this was very interesting. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, share. My day at work on a year. Yeah, I gotta go. I got a lot of things to say, but I can't say it now. So next time. Okay? It is what it is. But for now, like, yo, they said a lot of interesting things. So many things. Like, this is how people mind should be open to, you know? I'm just gonna go now. I gotta work at work.